Hang on. Yes. Hey guys, welcome back to Royalty Soaps. My name is Katie Carson and I am the Duchess of Suds here on this channel. For the last 2 weeks, everything has been a little bit topsy-turvy. I have had some stuff going on in my personal life, as well as business kinks and essentially growth pains of the Royalty Soaps business that I've been trying to work out, that we've been trying to sort through and get everything back into a working order. When you go from a one-person operation to a multiple-person operation, there's things that have to change, and it's a lot of stuff, and it's drastic and it's huge, and it's normally all at one time. I'm telling you this not so much as an excuse for myself, but more of an explanation and to let you guys in on my life a little bit, to know that things have been nuts around here, and I'm also the parent of a toddler. Hopefully from here on out, things will see a little bit more of our classic rhythm: the Wednesday video, the Saturday video, the Wednesday video, the Saturday video. And I do have to say that I felt slightly pressured recently, and just, it kind of kills my inspiration when I feel like I have to do a certain thing on camera. And this time it's kind of been the intros and outros. Like, I kind of just wish I could sit right now the way I'm choosing to do today in front of the camera, no matter what I look like, and talk to you guys about the soap. I wish it didn't have to be something that I felt like I needed to perform or put on a full face of makeup or do my hair just right or have a perfect background and perfect lighting and blah blah blah, or I'm gonna get a ton of comments about it, about how I'm being lazy, or I should just, you know, clean up the acne on my face, or I should stop using my personal soap on my face because it's clearly giving me acne. So I don't know. I mean, again, in the spirit of honesty, it is discouraging when you see stuff like that, or when you feel like you have to do a certain thing. But I went on a little thing on my personal Instagram and was just like, you know what? I don't want to fake it anymore. And so if I want to get in front of the camera and talk to you about my soap just like this, I'm going to. And I'm just going to shake off the haters. So anyway, very long intro, I'm sorry. Anyway, today's pumpkin pecan waffles soap, which I hope you guys love because it's a great fragrance. It really is my favorite fall fragrance of all time. And you will also get to see a lot of vanilla browning and discoloration, and sort of the before and after of what that effect looks like, which I think will be cool. So without further ado, let's make us some soap. Let's make some soap. This soap is going to be a 3-color drop swirl. So the first thing we have to do is blend our lye water solution into our oils here. I'm gonna pour it right down the stick blender. And now we're gonna turn on the stick blender on low, and we're gonna mix up the lye water and the oils until they have bonded together and are just past emulsification. The blending being done, we're gonna split this batch into 3 equal portions. The colors are going to be sort of an off yellow color. That's going to represent the waffle, and then a pumpkin color to represent the pumpkin, obviously, and then a brown color to represent the maple syrup. Maple syrup is what my grandfather on my mom's side, so my mom's dad, calls maple syrup, and as a kid, we thought that was the funniest joke ever. The yellow we have in here is True Yellow from TKB. The color is Matte Orange Pop from TKB. And the brown is Brown Oxide from TKB. I have added in my secret sauce pumpkin pecan waffles fragrance. It smells exactly like the pumpkin pecan waffles candles. It took me forever to track down this scent, and as you can clearly see, it is doing some really weird stuff to my soap. So these colors might not end up looking anything like we originally intended, but that's okay. You know how we are around here. We like to roll with the punches. And for this particular soap, the fragrance oil to me is much more important than the colors. I am gonna hand blend everything in. I've worked with this fragrance once before. It was last year. I was using it for personal use. I also did candles of this. So if you got a candle last year with the smell, it's the same thing. It was highly requested to come back this year in soap form. It's funny, I think the colors actually look a little bit prettier with the fragrance oil blended in. And now that the fragrance oil is in, it's time to start pouring into our brambleberry molds. I'm gonna start with the lightest color here at the bottom. I'm just gonna pour just enough to kind of cover the bottom bit. And while I'm pouring, I thought I'd talk to you guys about this design. A lot of people, and I mean a lot, ask me how my design process works. Like when I make my designs, when they actually get published on YouTube, that sort of thing. So I make my designs nearly 3 months in advance. That means this soap was designed in July. And I have to do this because soap makers have to work way ahead of time, way ahead of the seasons, because our soaps have to sit and cure. They have to harden up and they have to let go of all that water so that once you get the bar, it's really hard and lasts you guys a long time in your bath. So I have to work ahead of the seasons. I have to work 1 season ahead. So all my fall soaps were made in summer. All my summer soaps were already planned out in spring, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that means right now all the winter soaps are already completely designed. And sometimes I have an idea for something that isn't necessarily seasonal, and so I keep that in the back of my binder, and when I have a spare moment, those are the ones that I like to bring out, like, oh yeah, this one doesn't really have a theme, I just really want to make it, let's throw that in this month. Gonna be pouring in the last little bits here of all the colors, and then we're gonna start scraping out the containers. I also just want y'all to know that I'm not saying that the way I design and do it is the only way to do it. Lots of people like to work within the same season they're making for. That's better for their personal inspiration. But I know myself, and if I don't stay organized that far ahead, things get really sloppy. These definitely need to be banged down on the ground. And now I'm just gonna scrapey out my containers, and we will start making the soap frosting for the top. The soap frosting is ready to go, and it definitely matches the inside of the soap. It's sort of turned a little bit peachy, and then you got some more orange, and then you got chocolatey brown in there. So all the colors definitely still work with the fragrance oil. And then for this, I added a little bit of that orange. I also added some titanium dioxide to make it look a little more creamy. And then I also added some vanilla powder. Vanilla powder is so small, it doesn't really act as an exfoliant. It's really expensive, but it's also very, very, very nice to smell. And it gives the entire look of the soap a lovely dappled look. So it does kind of look like you've added something really yummy to some sort of pastry. Sort of like a vanilla bean ice cream appearance. So I'm gonna put 3 dollops across each soap. I always put those first 3 to kind of help me mark where I'm going so I don't make the piping bits too big. Every single piping batch is different, so I use those 3 to kind of get a feeling for how thick or thin it is. And I do have my soap frosting a little runny because I have a lot of embeds to put in, and if you work with really stiff frosting, it's sometimes hard to get them in there, and it displaces the soap so they don't cling on very well and the design doesn't look as good. So if you work a little bit thinner, you have more time to stick them all in there. I have already picked the Halloween costumes that Lily and Caleb and I are gonna use this year. It's going to be a theme. I've purchased hers. I still have to get mine, and Caleb is in charge of getting his, and I cannot wait to share with you guys what we've picked out. I'm so grateful for Caleb. He's really such a good sport. Going in for the second row here. And honestly, you can put as many rows as you want for piping. I just like the little 3, 2, 1 because I like the way it makes each individual bar look. But if you're experimenting with soap frosting, you do you, boo-boo. Last little dollop here in the middle. I'm going for a teeny bit of a flat top today. Awesome possum. So let's start on the insane amount of embeds. Wait, before embeds, we're gonna shake on a little bit of gold glitter. Just enough to sort of highlight the ridges of the piping. And then we're gonna put some little mini pumpkins right on the very tippity top. Pretty sure I'm gonna have to cut this with the single bar cutter because it's gonna be nearly impossible to get everything right, especially when the gold glitter has covered up all of my marks. I wonder how many ounces of glitter I've inhaled in my life. I was talking with my mom ages ago, and does anybody remember the statistic for how much lipstick a woman eats in her lifetime? I feel like that came out ages ago, and I cannot remember how much it was, but I know that it was too much. Definitely enough to make me uncomfortable. The next embed we're putting on the top are these little waffles. Guys, I got these molds on Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive. They would be great for wax tarts or maybe little chocolate candy treats. And Kenny was in charge of making these embeds. So he was like, when you say waffle color, what exactly are you looking for? And I was like, I think I'd like to go with the Eggo waffle because the waffle color is kind of hard to get right anyway. You can very easily go way too brown and then it just looks like really bad. It looks like a burnt waffle. Or you can go too soft and then it looks kind of peachy and weird. So in my opinion, it's better to go with a yellow toned waffle. So I told him, basically I just want an Eggo waffle, but if you can make it look a little bit golden, try for that. And gosh darn it, if he didn't nail the yellow color and then also put in some Aztec gold, he told me, to give it just a little bit of a crisp look. I don't know if the camera's picking up on that, but it's certainly obvious in real life. I was also aware when creating this particular soap that I had already made a pumpkin spice soap. I didn't want to use all the same colors that I've kind of used before when it comes to pumpkin themed things. I like to change it up. I like to do new stuff, so the frosting really has like a pumpkin chai look about it though, and I'm digging that. Also, you guys have no idea how late it is. I think it's actually like 11 p.m. and I've been up since 6 this morning. The last embed we have to put on are these little pecans, or pecans. That's gonna be the question of the day. And here it is, right in the middle of the video. The question of the day is, do you pronounce it pecan or pecan? Or pecan, I guess, since there are some southern folk that tend to lean that direction too. So I say pecan. Like the ones I decided to do are a very dark brown, and those are the kinds that we pick up like in central Texas. They tend to have like a very dark brown shell, but I've also seen some pecans that were very light, sort of like a honey golden color, and I don't know if that's because they're in like different regions or if that's like a completely different type of pecan. Are there any pecan experts out there in the comments section? Let me know. Why do they vary so much? I just thought that the darker colored pecans would really accent the inside of the soap. Also, if you would like the mold that I'm using for the pecan and for the pumpkins, I'll leave all the molds that I'm using today down in the description box so you can use them too. The final thing that I need to add on top before I spritz it with rubbing alcohol is a little bit of maple syrup drizzle. And I've made this by adding just a teeny tiny bit of brown liquid colorant into some melt and pour. Maple syrup is often a very runny, very clear brown, at least when you're buying Mrs. Buttersworth. So I'm gonna make sure that I drip it all over the waffles too. Drip it on those waffles, get in the cracks too where I've placed the waffle in so that they bind to the soap really well. Also, when testing to see how much I wanted this drizzle to be opaque, I decided I wanted the syrup to have a more like sunk in look. Like syrup doesn't look the same when it's been sitting on your waffle for like 2 or 3 minutes. Like your waffle soaks a whole bunch of it up, and that's kind of what I wanted for this. I didn't want it to look freshly poured. I've covered everything really well, so I'm going back in to any of the waffles that don't have enough drizzle on them, and I'm just fixing those up real quick. Awesome possum. So let's spritz this with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and we're done. Y'all. This looks so delicious and it smells so good. So now you can see up a little closer all of that syrup drizzle I put on the waffles. They're so cute. So I'm gonna let these sit for 18 to 24 hours, and then we will be back to chop them all up after this quick commercial break. So here we are, quite a bit later actually, with the pumpkin pecan waffle soap. I waited longer so that I could cut up a batch and show you guys what the discoloration is gonna look like on these bars. Because when you first cut it, it doesn't look as dark as it's going to. So I'm gonna turn this on its side because those little waffles are really, really tall. Okay, then I'm gonna press down. Not so gently because it's really hard at this point. Woo! Okay, let's pull one out from the middle. Stop sticking to your brothers and sisters. And this is what it looks like on the inside. But you can see it's already starting to brown. So the colors look fantastic, and let me tell you, the smell divine. There's the waffle, little Eggo waffle. It's got all the little syrup on top. You got the pumpkin and you got the pecan. And by the way, I know most pecans aren't normally this dark. Upon reflection after looking at it, I was like, that kind of looks like a chocolate covered pecan, because most are at least a little lighter than that. So I don't want all you pecan people being like, Katie, you made rotten pecans. So this is what a freshly cut bar looks like. And this is what one that has been sitting for a while looks like. The difference is really stark. This fragrance oil has a lot of vanilla in it. But hey, the one that has sat around oxidizing kind of matches the pecan. And like I told you guys, for this particular soap, as much as we wanted to make the colors pop, as much as we love the top design, it's the fragrance that I'm really trying to use as the highlight of the bar. Also, be sure to keep the name suggestions for this new man cutter of mine. We're thoroughly enjoying them so far and have definitely picked a few finalists. Man, I love these soaps. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment down below. Wednesday's video is going to be very, very cool. It is a technique I have never done in cold process soap, so you don't want to miss it. To make sure you don't, be sure that you click the notification bell down below, and hopefully the soap fairy will do her job. If you're interested in getting a bar for yourself, this soap will be available on the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November. And until Wednesday, I hope you have an absolutely royal day. Do something fun for yourself today. Whether that's looking out the window and enjoying the soothing rainfall, or just freaking not putting makeup on because you don't feel like it. Either way, do something that makes you happy, and I'll see you guys Wednesday. Bye for now. Meow.